Hey guys, it's Friday, June 30th, and I'm in Point Pleasant, New Jersey. These people called me yesterday to see if I could come wire their new shed. From what I understand, there was an existing shed they tore down. They got a new one built, and so the wiring is there and it's existing. I looked at it this morning actually. I had some running around to do in the morning, but I knew I'd be home. I knew I'd be in the area on Friday because I always take off the day before a big holiday weekend down like the 4th of July. So I live down the shore and it just gets crazy this time of year. So a lot of cars on the road, especially coming down the Parkway. So if I can help it, I try to work local so I don't have to deal with that. And so today we're wiring up 2 new receptacles in a shed in the backyard. The shed's been built. I'm going to attach the power that's existing into the shed from one receptacle, and then we're going to add another receptacle, and I thought I'd take you along for the ride. So thanks for coming back if you're a subscriber, and if you haven't subscribed up yet, what are you waiting for? All right guys, we're almost here, and I'm going to show you this job. Hope it's not too boring, but thanks for coming back. All right, so the first order of business is to get this wire come through that bottom plate, or you want to call that a floor plate, and we're going to mount the receptacle here. Then we're going to drill a hole through this top plate, run across the ceiling, we'll drill some holes through those rafters, and then we're going to put another receptacle right here. So it's a pretty simple job. So if I can, I like to make my knockouts and install my connectors in the box before I install the box. This makes things easier as far as sleeving that wire through the PVC from underneath the shed into the box. You'll see in a moment here, I'm going to drill a hole in that template in the floor plate, and I will install the piece of PVC as well, and I'll have an accurate measurement, and the wire will be pulled up before I install the box, making installing that box so much easier than doing it after the box is already mounted. And so here I'm measuring the middle of that floor plate because on the bottom side there's a 2x4, some kind of framing. I'm not exactly sure why, but I want to drill a hole without any obstructions for that PVC to slide down and protect the wire. So that's what I'm doing here. Now I'll go outside and I'll get this UF wire and reach under there and feel the hole that I just drilled, and I'll pass the wire through that hole. So the way I strip back this MC cable is I kink the wire and then I use my diagonal cutters to cut the sheathing, the metal sheathing. Pull it off, I install a redhead and make sure that this first staple from the box is within 12 inches of the box. So if you've never installed a 4-inch metal cover for a receptacle in box, we need to cut off each of the ears on that receptacle, including the screw section right there that actually holds on, that actually attaches a vinyl or plastic plate, wall plate. In order for this receptacle to fit inside that 4-inch square box, you have to take those ears off. And then of course I always take off these screws that come, or the bolts that come with the device. I set those aside, prepare my wires obviously, and then I use the bolts that came with the receptacles to attach the plate to the receptacle. And we have to use a bolt and a nut to attach the 4-inch plate to the device. That's required. And so if you have a longer bolt, it's easier to start the nut on the bolt than the short bolts that come with the 4-inch square plate. I hope that makes sense. You'll see what I'm talking about here in a second. So I use my cordless M12 Surge to tighten my terminals, but then I go back with a flathead and make sure they're tight sufficiently. And terminations, anytime with a receptacle or a switch or even a light, terminations, it seems like the easiest thing to do, but I see so many devices that I'm repairing that have been done wrong. So when you're terminating a receptacle and you're terminating the conductors to the receptacle, make sure you take the time and you get a nice connection. Very important, especially if you're going to be running anything with a high load or a lot of power, because if it's not tight, it's going to start arcing and the circuit breaker is not going to see a fault or an overload, and that's how fires start, unfortunately. So do it right the first time and make sure your terminations are done correctly. So here you'll see I have the nuts, and I'll attach the plate and I'll use the long bolts and the nuts supplied with the plate to attach the plate to the receptacle before the plate gets attached to the box. I hope that makes sense to you. So when after you have your conductors terminated to the receptacle and the plate is on, you take out these box screws here, and you're going to very delicately grab all those conductors and kind of get them started in the back, nice and easy, and just push them back there. This is number 12 wire, so it's not the simplest thing, but the the easier you push those wires in first, the easier your plate's going to go on. So take your time, grab the conductors, and kind of push them back with your hand, just enough so that the plate, when you attach it to the box, will sit firm. Alright, so I'm all done here now, and I found out that the circuit that was supplying the power to this shed was GFCI protected, as it should be. So often I come across jobs where there's actually no GFCI protection. The wire is buried like 2 or 3 inches down. This seems to be like a legit installation originally, so that's good. With the GFCI breaker, I was impressed to see that. So you'll see in the video, I labeled both the boxes GFCI protected. I let them know what circuit breaker was on down the main breaker panel. And that concludes this video for today. So if you like this video, hit that like button, please. And if you haven't already, subscribe, and have a happy 4th of July weekend. And we'll see you on the other side. Thanks for watching.